Hi there, this is Lori. Today I want to show you something really cool that I stumbled across and is very easy to do in Artisan. I am working in Artisan 5, but the same thing can be done in Artisan 4. I saw at Pickleberry Pop this Alpha Jumble by Heather T. She's got a couple of different versions, and I thought, how cool would that look? So I worked with it. And this is what I did on my page. I thought you might like to see exactly how I did this and how it's very quick and easy to do. I will move this preview off the page, and I did use the Awesome, so I will use a different one today. You can see all the different possibilities here. And the kit that I am going to use is Fayette's See the Beauty kit. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in there, and even though the layout I made is SeaWorld with the manatees, I thought the colors worked very well with it, and they were just beautiful. So I will be using this kit with the papers. Let's start with any one of those word arts. And I dragged that onto the page. You can see that there's nothing behind it right now. And what we're going to do is fill in all the areas that aren't open to the outside. The easiest way to do this is to start by inserting an empty frame. And just to make it quick, I highlighted the word art also, and I changed the shape and the location to center over it perfectly. And then I pulled it down below so that I could see it down there. Now I found it a little bit easier to make it slightly bigger so that each edge hangs out a little bit, because if it's totally right up beside it, it takes a little bit longer. So I wanted it a little bit bigger around the edges. Now this seems a little counterintuitive, but I'm going to make that background white. I'm just going to change the fill on that photo to a solid color and make it white. And now you don't see it on that background, but if I were to hide the background, you can see that it really is there. So I'll work with it this way just to make it a little easier visually. Before you do anything else, grab the word art again, and you're going to copy and paste it. Then you're going to align it so that it's perfectly on top. And now I want you to forget about that top one. Don't even think about it. Over here, if it makes you feel better, you could hide it or you could lock it. I don't bother doing that, but you certainly could if you want to. Now, take the second word art, the bottom one, and that white piece of paper in the background. You'll go to flatten. Once you flatten this, you're now going to go to cut, wand, and while you're at wand, all you need is adjacent. You don't want to take all, because then anything that's not adjacent but is also part of it will be chosen. So adjacent is perfectly fine. And then the threshold, sometimes you may need to play with the threshold a little bit. It really depends on how much contrast there is between your background and whatever you're cutting around. In this case, I have perfectly white with perfectly black, so the thresholding really doesn't matter. And then I click. Once you click, come over to select. And at this point, I could do a couple of things, but since I want you to see exactly what was cut, I will go to cut copy and say keep both areas. Normally I could just say keep the unselected area, but I'm going to say keep both and cut. Now on the left you can see that we have those flattened the letters, the word art, with the white filled in, and then the white edge. So let me just deselect so that you don't see that white edge. And you can see exactly that we've got that word art and the spaces in between. And that's what we were trying to fill, is all those spaces in between. Now, if I go over to my photos list, that's where I'm going to bring in some of these Fayette papers. So I will just drag those into this photos not used area. And at this point, I can select this whole thing, and I'm going to fill it with whichever paper I want. And you'll see that the whole thing, all the letters fill also. So let's just go up and unlock and view the letters that we've got on the top. And now you can see exactly how that will look with all that stuff filled in. I'm going to bring the background back now just so that it's a little easier to see it on the contrast of that background. Now you could easily leave it here, and you could continue to select that background and put any of the papers in and play with it to see it however you'd like. You could also take those letters, and if you wanted to, you could add a shadow to those and give it a little pop against the background. What I'm going to do is one step further with that patterned paper that's in there. I'm going to apply another paper and do a blend across it. To do that, I have that paper, you can see over here, I have that background, that paper underneath, the filled paper, highlighted. I'm going to copy and paste, and then I will select both of them, arrange, and line them up completely on top of each other. I'll go ahead and pull this top one down. With the top one highlighted, I will go over to another paper that I want to use. I think I'll take this one, and I'm going to fill it, and I will expand it however I want my background paper to be, or my paper to be. And you can see now that it looks like it's filling the whole thing, because it is. So we need to blend this one into that bottom one. While that top one is highlighted, I'll go to Cut, Straight, Blended Edge. When I do, I come over to Angle and I just put on 90 degrees if that's what I want. In this case it is. And you can see that I spread open that blend fairly wide. It gives it a really neat blended look. I am going to say keep the shaded area in this particular one, so that means these up here it will keep completely, and here it will start blending it out, and down there it won't be there whatsoever. So I will say cut. Now you can see that we've got the total look of that top paper. We've got a slight blend going on until we have the full look of that bottom paper. And that's it. So at this point, I would take the bottom paper, I would use my control key and click the top paper, and then I would take my control key and also select that word art. They're all attached together. If I wanted to, I could say arrange group so that they're easy to work with, and then I can copy and I can go onto my layout that I want to put this on, and I can just paste and then move it around, resize it, do whatever I'd like to it, and that's exactly how I came up with this. Hope you enjoy, play around with Artisan, and see what cool looks you can come up with this really great word art from Heather T. called Alpha Jumble. Bye-bye.